Now, so whenever we look at, business analytics as a domain, I'm a non-engineer. I have a lot of students with me, even they are non-engineer. We always believe that it's only engineers' cup of tea, and non-engineers are not meant for that. So, it is always the case that non-engineers will not be able to do it. Only engineers can do it. Can you help us in understanding? Is there a same ground playing for everybody, that let it be engineer or non-engineer, दोनों भी कर सकते हैं, या फिर अगर नॉन इंजीनियर को थोड़ा सा डिसएडवांटेज है या फिर इंजीनियर को एडवांटेज है प्लेसमेंट के लिए, जॉब के लिए? What do you think about this?
Okay. See, um, if you look at, let's say, somebody like me who did engineering and after that I did MBA, okay, and I joined in an insurance company. And my Mausaji met me after a long time. He said, "Where are you working?" I said, "I'm working in an insurance company." He
Mm-hmm.
said, "You're an engineer, right?" I said, "Yes."
Huh.
"How
Even I
come you're
wanted
in
to.
insurance?" I said, "I did MBA." He said, "Then what? I mean, you did civil engineering, so you should have been in construction and buildings and things like that. What are you doing in insurance?"
Right.
So I had a hard time explaining to him that when you do MBA, you become a generalist. That means
Exactly.
you're no more an engineer or a pharmacist or
Right.
a medical science or, let's say, commerce or arts. You can basically apply anywhere because you have got that generalist title.
Right.
The same logic applies to analytics also. In analytics, if you look at the most common role is the role of a manager. Okay.
Hmm.
The manager's role is to understand how I can use the data available with the company.
Okay.
Try to realize that today what is happening, that every company has a lot of data. If you
Hmm.
talk about Swiggy, for example, does Swiggy
Hmm.
have a lot of data?
Yeah.
Yes, because every order that you place,
Hmm.
for every order, the customer name, the customer contact number, address, the delivery boy, the
Hmm.
delivery boy contact number, delivery boy temperature. Nowadays, they
Hmm.
mention that
Hmm.
also.
Hmm.
The time taken by the delivery boy, the distance traveled. If you look at the amount of data generated for a single order, it will
Hmm.
have more than 50 fields.
Hmm.
And thousands and thousands of such orders are getting placed per hour. So you talk about Swiggy, you talk about Uber, you talk about banks, you talk about government.
Hmm.
Everybody is having huge amount of data. Now the problem is these companies don't know how to use the data. So for
Okay.
example, Swiggy's case, if we take and we ask a question to ourselves, if I am an employee at Swiggy and I am given the task of analyzing the data, how
Hmm.
I can use the data at Swiggy for its betterment.
Hmm.
So there are hundreds of things that we can suggest. I'll give you a
Hmm.
simple example. Let us
Hmm.
say that Swiggy knows very well that a particular dish, let's say idli sambar, is
Hmm.
in huge demand in a particular area XYZ, but
Hmm.
the delivery times for that is taking too much.
Hmm.
The reason probably is that the supply in that area for idli sambar is less than the demand.
Hmm.
So people like that stuff a lot, but
Hmm.
the suppliers are less. So Swiggy can start a consultancy to
Hmm.
hotel industry where they will consult them that open an South Indian restaurant in this area. It will have a huge demand.
Hmm. Hmm.
This
Hmm.
is just
Hmm.
one simple example. Another example, suppose you're ordering pizza every week and one day you forget to order pizza because some reason is there. Then Swiggy can send you a customized message. Are you missing something this time?
Hmm.
Here is a
Got it.
10% discount code.
Got it.
See,
Awesome.
the amount of applications is humongous. It's like I can give you like this 3 hours. I can talk about various uses of data. Now, do you understand these examples I'm giving you?
Yep.
Now, most of the students, whether they are from arts background, commerce background, science
Got it.
background, they will understand these examples
Perfect.
because these are managerial examples.
Yes, sir.
Every manager understands this.
Yes, sir.
Now, the detailed question will be how will you, whether you will use Python, whether you will use R programming, whether you will
Hmm.
use Excel and things like that, which model will you apply? That's the statistical part, that's
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
programming part.
Hmm. Hmm.
So if
Hmm.
you don't want to get into that role, that
Hmm.
is perfectly fine. You can be on the managerial side.
Hmm.
Okay. So I'll give you a very simple example. When I applied for engineering, there was something called as chemical engineering at our
Right.
time, and I thought chemical engineering has to do with chemistry, and chemistry was not my favorite subject. So I said I don't want to take chemical engineering. Believe
Hmm.
me, chemical engineering was just like any other engineering. It was nothing to
Hmm.
do with chemistry that much. In the
Hmm.
same way, analytics doesn't mean only analytics. Analytics means the managerial application of data, how I
Hmm.
can improve the company's operations using data.
Okay.
So, if you understood the example that I gave you,
Hmm.
that means you can easily take up analytics as a career option for you.
Perfect. Anybody can do it, to be very honest. So
Absolutely.
here is one more question. You talked about the stats and you talked about the mathematics involved or a little bit quants involved in the business analytics area. Do you think non-engineers के लिए ये problem हो सकती है? फिर do you think कुछ extra statistics की या फिर mathematics की skills required है इसमें to kind of grow very well eventually, or when you get on board like as a job to beat the
Okay.
engineers, being a non-engineer, how can you kind of crack the interview engineer को थोड़ा सा पीछे रखे?
Okay.
So ये non-engineers की बड़ी problem होती है because I know engineers are doing really good as far as BA is concerned. But आपको लगता है कि stats जानना जरूरी है यहाँ पे?
Okay. See, the thing is, I'll split the answer in two parts. One is in MBA, there is a specialization called marketing.
हाँ जी.
Okay. Now, when people go for marketing offers you various career options. One
Right.
option is market research, which is
Right.
statistics. It is
Right.
analysis. It is analytics.
Right.
One option is advertising and branding,
Hmm.
which is about communication. It is about designing
Hmm.
the various brochures and
Hmm.
TV ads and things like that.
Hmm.
One aspect is sales. In
Hmm.
sales, you don't do the branding aspect. You basically go from door to door if it's a retail sale. You go from company to company if it's a corporate sale.
Hmm.
So what I'm trying to tell you is that under the umbrella of marketing, there are so many different varieties of roles,
Hmm.
and a person may not like advertising but may like
Hmm.
market research. A
Right.
person may not like market research but may like sales.
Hmm.
Okay. Similarly, in analytics, I said the managerial aspect is one part, the programming is one part,
Right.
database administration, that means how to manage the data, how to store it, how to extract it, that is one part,
Right.
and statistical models, mathematical
Hmm.
models, that is one part.
Right.
Now, if you are an, let's say, non-engineering graduate and you don't like mathematics or statistics at all, then
Hmm.
you don't get into statistical models. You
Hmm.
don't get into programming if you don't like
Hmm.
it. But there
Hmm.
are other options available. On the other hand, if you are an engineer and you love programming, you don't
Hmm.
get into managerial aspect. You get into programming side. That is perfectly fine.
Hmm.
So these are the
Okay.
various options available.
All right. That's very smooth. I think that answers the question. And I think a lot of non-engineers who are actually listening to this video or watching this video, I think will be quite more comfortable now. Okay, ठीक है.
One more thing I would like to add that
Yes, sir.
in Vivekanand Business School, in the very first semester, in the very first trimester, what
Hmm.
happens is that we give exposure to a programming language compulsorily for to all the students. We give
Oh, okay.
exposure to
Nice.
statistics to all the students. What is the intention behind that? The intention is that I have seen myself so many commerce students who are good at programming,
Hmm.
but they never tried it because they didn't know
Ah,
it.
exactly, sir.
Because programming and math are different from each other. Programming has a logic,
Yes,
a
yes,
different
yes.
logic.
Yes, yes,
Okay,
yes.
so in the first trimester, you are given exposure to everything, and then you can take a fair call that okay, am I made for programming? Am I made for statistics and math, or am I made for managerial aspect? So that is a
Hmm.
call that you can take.
Perfect. Perfect.